And now I'm going to introduce our presenter. But before I do that, I just showed Joyce, who will be presenting in a moment. I get alerts on my cell phone from different websites that I follow or apps that are on my computer, or I should say on my phone. And at 9:21, I got an alert from ABC 15. And this is what the alert is. It's titled Scam Alerts. Scammers are reportedly making $28 billion yearly, targeting seniors and pretending to be the FBI, IRS, Amazon, and more. I didn't open the article, but I do know that what we are going to learn about today is definitely to hit their pockets. We don't want to add to the scammers' pockets. We want to make sure it stays in our own. So I'm going to introduce Joyce in just a moment. Joyce started her professional career in the public accounting sector as an accountant and tax reporter. And as an avid volunteer and philanthropist, she changed her focus to the nonprofit sector and co-founded a nonprofit in 2014. Since leaving that nonprofit in 2021, she saw a need to educate people, especially the older adult population, about the financial scams and help them protect themselves and their hard-earned assets. So in August 2021, Joyce founded R.O.S.E. R.O.S.E stands for Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. And the mission was to prevent financial exploitation and defrauding of older adults through advocacy and education, which we're going to be learning about today. She delivers an effective fraud awareness and protection program. And this is just to educate us, enlighten us about what is out there, what to look out for, and then of course give tips to all of us that are present. And you can share this with your friends. You become an ambassador of R.O.S.E. I don't know if she knows this new title here, but where you'll be able to share with others better ways to protect themselves as well. And I know that I was listening to someone walk up to Pinky earlier at the table and ask just, what's this presentation? Not somebody who's joining us today. And I think they said it was that adult male that he was definitely reached out to in some of these phone calls that say, hey, it's your grandchild. So we're going to learn more about that, how to identify it, and definitely how to stay away from it, which is the big key here. So without any further ado, if you can please join me in welcoming Joyce Petrowski. Thank you. I'm gonna shut that off so you don't have to. It's a distraction.
I'll take my glasses off to read. Well, hello, everybody. As Rabbi said, I'm Joyce Petrowski, and I'm the founder and board president for R.O.S.E, Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly is the name. So, is this on? Okay, maybe I just have to put it closer to my mouth. All right, we'll do that. Thank you. All right, so I want you guys to imagine something with me. So picture an older woman, someone's mother, aunt, sister, grandmother. In a heartbreaking instant, her life savings vanishes. Someone stole not just her hard-earned assets, but her dignity, leaving her feeling afraid, alone, and ashamed. Now, I want you to imagine that that was your loved one. Scams and fraud and deception of the older adults happens more often than you know. Rabbi said it's reported about 28 billion is lost to the older adults. They did say the older adults in that?
Yeah.
Okay. To the older adults. In 2022, that population in the whole United States reported, and there's only about 18% of the 60 plus population that reports, lost $3.1 billion. So I'm not surprised that it is up to 28 billion, because you multiply that by 5, you get to 15, and it just keeps going and going. So The criminals are very good at what they do. They've had a lot of years to perfect their talks, to perfect their grammar, and to perfect who they are targeting. So this is exactly why I started R.O.S.E. I had a loved one after I left the first nonprofit. I found out one of my loved ones was involved in a romance scam. I talked to her children and found out just how difficult it was to convince her that while yes, this person is real, he is a real person, but he doesn't love you. He's not coming to Pennsylvania to be with you. All he wants, he's being nice and saying everything you want to hear because all he wants is your money. And then you are not going to hear from him again. It took a few go-arounds before she finally realized, what was going on. And so I started doing a lot of research and finding out just how out of control this is. Okay. This is not just people, scammers living in other countries. This is happening with people, scammers that live right here in the United States. Now, maybe they started in another country and now they've moved to the United States, and inevitably when they get the money, they're sending it out of the country. That could be. I believe Rabbi mentioned our mission is to prevent the financial exploitation and defrauding of the older adults through advocacy and education. Our vision is that retirement should be the best years of your life. It needs to be protected at all costs. And we have one goal. That's to reduce the number of people affected by these scams and the resulting financial losses. Unfortunately, Arizona, in the years past, has always fallen in the top 10 out of all the states. Last year, they were number 7 in reported victims, over 3,500 reported victims in the 60+ population. That population that reported they were a victim lost over $82 million. And we ranked number 5 in the United States. Now, there's a lot of other things that I would like to see the Arizona in the top 10, not this. And so that's what we looked at it from prevention. If we can bring the education and the awareness about what is going on out there, along with how can you protect yourself, because you are your own last line of defense. You're going to be the one that answers the phone or not, engages in the conversation or not, sends the money or not. But if we can give you a lot of protection tips and tools that you can make a decision if you want to implement them or not, then that can really help protect you, protect your identity, and help you keep more aware of what's going on out there. I often tell people I am at the tail end of the baby boomers, so I am right there at the 60 years. And I grew up with no cell phones, no computers. I tell some of the younger generations, we could only talk on the phone and walk as long as that cord would allow us, right? That's just all you could do. And a lot of times they look at me like, cord, what are you doing? Well, I wasn't charging a phone, it's a cord, and not having any computers. And we trusted people. You would meet and talk to somebody on the street, and you would all of a sudden become close friends. You didn't lock your cars, your homes, nothing. You had that trust. And so that makes a perfect storm rolling into the 2000s and now 2023 with all of this technology and the scammers taking that technology and using it to their advantage. Okay. So what do we do with our program? So our program, we have a really great PowerPoint, and the program usually lasts about an hour to an hour and a half, which I'm not going to do here today. It really depends on how interactive everybody is. But we talk about the statistics that I just mentioned here. We get into what's called an anatomy of a scam, and I'll explain that. And I have a copy of that graphic out on the table for you guys when you leave if you want to take it. And then we talk about a variety of different scams. We We do not get into a lot of technical details on them, but we talk about the romance scam. We talk about the grandparent scam, tech support. We look at email phishing and text message phishing. We talk about government scams. And the new things that we brought on this last spring and summer was AI, artificial intelligence. Scammers are already using it. We mentioned the grandparent scam earlier. You'd get a call and they would pretend to be your grandchild. When they first started doing it, they didn't know the names of your grandchildren. They were trying to get you to say the name of your grandchild, right? Now they pretty much know the names of the grandchild because on the internet, you can find just about anything, especially social media. Now with this artificial intelligence, all they need is a couple seconds recording of your grandchild's voice, and you can find that all, if your grandchild is, or one of their friends is posting on social media and they're talking and making a video or whatever, they just need a couple seconds of that voice and they can make that voice say whatever they want it to say. So now when you get that call, it actually sounds like your grandchild. These are the ways that scammers have evolved over the years and are using technology. So, and another new thing that we brought on this summer was deed fraud. Does anybody here know what deed fraud is? Okay, so if you own your own home, and especially if you do not have any liens on it, you are a prime target for deed fraud. Unfortunately, in the state of Arizona, it is extremely difficult, or it's extremely easy to transfer the deed to a home, of a home. The county recorder's office has already said it's not their duty to look for fraudulent activity. I'm not sure if they just don't have the manpower, the time. I'm not sure. I am meeting with the state representative this Friday to talk about it, to see what we can implement to put in place to make this a lot harder to do. Because if you fraudulently lose the title to your home, it's on you to be able to get it back. And that might take hiring an attorney, which can be expensive. So what we suggest to people, there are 3 counties in Arizona right now, Maricopa, Pinal, and Yavapai County, that you can go on the county recorder's website and sign up for title alerts. And what that does is if there's any change in the title to your property, and it doesn't matter if that property is vacant land, if it's a house, it's a condo, whatever it is, if there's any change in that title, you will get notified immediately. It does not stop it from happening, but you get notified right away that it's happened. And then you could try to take some, measures to get it back. We also suggest talking to your insurance agent to find out, hey, if this deed fraud ever happened to me, am I covered under my insurance policy to pay for an attorney to get my property back, if that's what I have to do? So I'm hoping with some new legislation in the next year that this is going to become a lot harder to do, which will make it less. Scammers are lazy. They like the low-hanging fruit. Okay, so if it's harder for them to transfer a deed, they might turn away from that because they just don't want to have to jump through all the hoops to do it. And so that's what we're trying to do. So with our program, we also talk about resources, some different resources and tips and tools. So one of the resources, I was just talking to somebody this morning about it, and I found, does anybody know what a credit freeze is? So I found out that only about 18% or 12% of the 60+ population has a freeze on their credit. I have had some people that thought if they put a freeze on it, then they can't use their credit cards or debit cards or anything like that. What it does when you put the freeze on it is it prevents any future loans, credit cards in your name. Because let's think about it. If you go and you want to buy a car, and you want to finance it, whatever car company you're going to and the financing part of it, they're going to call one of those 3 credit reporting agencies because they want to find out, are you a good bet to loan this money to? Well, they call that agency or they do it online, and it pops back to them that says they have a freeze on their credit. And then the financing company is going to be like, nope, we can't extend credit. We can't find any information out about these. And then you'll get a letter in the mail, from the car dealership or whatever. And they, we're really sorry we weren't able to extend financing for this vehicle, but if you unfreeze your credit, then we can go through. Now, my husband did this. He'll be 62 at the end of January. He did this probably 10 to 15 years ago, because we started noticing some fraudulent charges on the credit card and stuff like that. Every year we get a letter from some company saying, we're sorry, we're unable to extend this credit to you because you have a freeze on your account, on your social security number. Now, when you go to put that in place, you have to get a hold of all 3 credit reporting agencies. They do not talk to each other. Why? I don't know. To me, it seems it would be easy to put that in place, that they would talk to each other, but they don't. So you have to freeze it with all 3 agencies. And so that you want to make sure that if you do it online, that you are on that verified website of the credit reporting agencies. If you call them, you want to make sure it's a verified phone number and that's who you are talking to, because you will have to give them your social security number. Okay. Tips and tools, things that we go over. There are, well, first of all, I'm going to go over the anatomy of a scam, and then I'll talk about 3 tips and tools. The anatomy of a scam, and again, the infographic is out on the table, is there really are 3 parts to any scam. The first one is initiating contact. The scammer is going to find a way to contact you, variety of different ways. Phone, calling, texting, emailing. If you play online games, if you are on a dating site, if you are on social media, they have a variety of different ways to try to contact you. The second part is they create a compelling reason to get you to act. Now, that's where they get you into an emotional state. Whether you're lonely, you're getting excited because you think you've won a big prize. You're happy because now you think you found love again. You're afraid because you think the IRS might be coming after you, or your social security number is going to get blocked and you're not going to get your benefits. Lots of different emotions. Scammers love emotions. We're all emotional people, which makes us at risk for falling for these scams. And the third part is requesting payment or requesting information. If they're out there fishing, trying to get more information on you, but they're requesting payment, they're not going to ask you to send a check. That just takes too long. There's a trail there. They like wire transfers. It happens immediately, or if you miss the cutoff time, it just takes 1 day. They like gift cards. When you buy a gift card, all they need is the information on the back of that card. And now they have the access to it and that money's gone. Okay. They like Venmo and Zelle and all of those cash apps, because again, they're like transfers. And they're not as anonymous as gift cards are, but the money's gone. With those cash apps. They also like cryptocurrency. I don't know if any of you guys here are involved in cryptocurrency or dabbled in it, but I didn't realize this till recently, but there's these machines that look like ATM machines, but they're cryptocurrency, and you put your money into them, you put the account number in, and it takes that cash, switches it into cryptocurrency and gets sent off to whatever account the scammer gave you. So they're looking for quickness to get the money and anonymity with it, okay? Those are the 3 parts that if you really think about a lot of different scams, it can apply to. Now, the 3 tips, there's a lot of tips, like keep your personal information confidential. If you use multi-factor authentication, that code is confidential. The IRS and government offices will never call you unless you have an open account with them that you've established. They like to do things the old way. Snail mail is how they send you things. So, but there are 3 tips to keep in mind. 1, be aware of your emotions. Everybody can be in an emotional state. Scammers love it. They are going to do their best to keep you in that emotional state, which is why they don't want you talking to anybody. You have a trusted person that you can go to. Could be a family member, a friend, a rabbi, it could be anybody. A trusted person that before you give out any information, that you even begin to go buy gift cards or to send money, talk to that person. Go over the situation. A lot of times just by you talking about it, sometimes you hear yourself say it, and then it's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Other times you're still in that emotional state and your trusted person is in a rational state. They can help you walk through the situation to make the determination that, hey, this really is a scam. And does everybody remember back in the early 80s when Ronald Reagan was in office? He coined a phrase, trust but verify. Okay, back then we could do that. Now you can't. As I said earlier, you can't just give your trust out. Someone needs to earn that, and it takes a long time for them to earn that. Switch that phrase around. You need to verify before you can even begin to trust. You need to verify who you're dealing with, what they're asking of you. If you're going on a website, you need to make sure it's the verified website. If you're calling somebody or an organization, make sure it's the verified phone number. So if you get those emails, those text messages, or they're calling you and say, well, this is our phone number, call us back. You don't click on those links, you don't call those numbers, because that gets you directly to the scammer. You go and you find those verified websites or phone numbers and call and verify what's going on with your account. If it's a bank account, if it's an Amazon account, a FedEx account, scammers love to pretend to be all these big companies because they're national, they're worldwide, they've gained a good reputation. And I mean, a lot of people have Amazon accounts. So you're gonna see scammers impersonate Amazon a lot of different ways. How am I doing on time? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I love to make this interactive. Yes.
Is there any type of profile? Is there any type of profile of the people that are doing these, trying to scam?
You mean as to the type of people, or no? There's a wide, because there's even people that will befriend an older adult, and all of a sudden they're like their best friend. They're talking every day, multiple times a day. And now that person has moved in with them because they need help during the day. And then all of a sudden they're on the deed to the house and they're on the bank accounts. And that's another type of a scammer. They're just not trying to do it online, which is why we always say, if you need help in the house, go through a reputable in-home care company to do that. Because you need to be aware of, if you just bring somebody into your home to take care of you and you're paying them, you are now their employer. And you really need to have the insurance, the workers' comp, they need to be on payroll. Because what happens if then all of a sudden you're better and you don't need that help? And they're living there. What do you have to do to get rid of them? Do you have to evict them? Can they go and collect unemployment? And then all of a sudden the state knows that you've been paying them and you've not been paying payroll taxes. So it just opens up a whole can of worms. So I highly suggest, if you do need something like that, work through an in-home care association to have that, because then they take all of that off your plate. They're their employer. You have somebody to go to if the person doesn't work out. When you're done with that contract. You don't have to worry about them laying claim to, your house and stuff like that.
What was the place you looked for when you said your title or county recorder?
The county recorder's office, so if people that have property in Maricopa, Yavapai, and Pinal County, you can go on the county recorder's website in all three of those counties and just type in, you know, title alert or property alert, and it'll take you right there. Now, I will tell you that they have said the rest of the counties in Arizona have until 2025 to get these alerts in place. So if you have property in any of the other counties, those will be coming out in the next year and a half. Yes?
How do scammers identify their clients? Is it random or is there or elaborate?
So there's a lot of different ways scammers identify targets. One, they troll obituaries. They read the obituaries like you wouldn't believe. You guys ever seen an obituary? How much information is in there? A lot. And now their new thing they're doing is they're impersonating funeral directors at funeral homes and calling the grieving family to say their credit card didn't go through, there's an added service they need to pay for, or their funeral's not going to happen. And so again, this is the way they're evolving and new techniques. They also, it's unfortunate, but just about everybody's information is out there. When companies get hacked into, and the hackers steal information from that company, they take that information and they sell it on the dark web to the scammers. So you just need to understand that the scammers have some information on you. Might not be a lot, could be a lot, it just depends. And so they will have a bot, if anybody knows what a bot is. I don't even know what that acronym stands for. It's a technology term that I don't even know how to create them, but they have a computer bot that they will plug in hundreds and thousands of phone numbers, and it will just start calling like this. And then when someone presses 1 or 2 or whatever, then you're going to get to a live person. They will do the same thing with emails. So they're not actually sitting there like they were 15 years ago, typing and calling everybody. They can call 100,000 people in a matter of minutes. They can send emails to 100,000 people in a matter of minutes, hoping that 1% of them will bite on it. Yes.
A bot is a robot.
It's a robot, right? Is that a shortening for robot?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's an automatic system.
It's an automated system that they have done, right? We have one over here.
Is it worthwhile to have something like an auto lifelock to protect you?
So as a R.O.S.E can't endorse any of these products, but me as an individual, I will tell you that I do use Norton LifeLock, and I have gotten some emails from them, and I've been like, wow, I didn't even know they were doing that. I mean, we're in the process over the next 5 years of changing the title on our home for estate tax purposes, and that's about all I can say, because that's why I have an attorney, because I don't understand all of that. But I know that when he puts it through to make a change to the title, I get notified like this through Norton, that there's been a change in the title. If they find my information on the dark web, they let me know. Or if my password, if I have a password that's been compromised, they will let me know. So then I know to go in and change that password wherever I've used it. So, I mean, for me personally, I like them.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned gift cards,
Mhm.
and I've read that there are lots of ways of thinking that you're buying a true gift card for someone and it's really a bogus one. How do you know that you're buying a legitimate gift card?
So that's a good point. I did have, my website guy told me that he had bought, this was a year ago, had bought some gift cards for his son and daughter-in-law. And he knew, based on his technology experience, that if he just sent them in the mail, that there's a good chance that they're going to get opened up and the gift cards taken. Now, so what he did is he bought a book and he stuck the gift cards in the book and then mailed the book. And he said when his son and daughter-in-law got those. They went to use them a couple months later, and both of them had zero balances. Now, was somebody able to scan the package and be able to scan that gift card out of that, the numbers? Or when he bought them, did they not activate? Now, what has happened is scammers will go into stores, and they're not going to spend a lot of time, because the more time they spend standing there by the gift cards with this little machine, they're going to get busted. So they're not going to sit there and go through, 20 of them on a thing. They're going to take the first few, and they're just going to scan the back of them. So they have the barcodes. They sit there and hold on to those numbers. And then as soon as someone buys that card and it gets activated, boom, they know it's been activated, and they clean it out. So there really isn't any way for you to know, unless there is a machine out there that I'm not aware of, that you can, scan it to see if there's, that if it's a good card or not. So my suggestion is, if you're buying gift cards, just pull a handful of them off and get ones from the back, and then put them back on.
They used to have a number to call, to stop the scamming or calling on this phone.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it really works.
No, it doesn't, because, and a lot of people have said, we need different laws and stuff like that. For the first thing, scammers don't follow the law. If they did, they wouldn't be scamming people. So it doesn't matter to them if you're on the do not call registry. They don't care. They don't care. There is one thing that's on, whether you have an Android or an Apple phone, it's called Silence Unknown Callers, and it's in your phone settings. If you turn that on, your phone will not even ring or vibrate unless it's coming from a number that is in your contacts, not the name, the number. Now, I've had some people that say it's awesome, I love it. I've had other people say, I have a lot of doctors and they have a lot of phone numbers and I miss those calls. But the good thing is that what it does is, since it doesn't ring or vibrate into your phone, it goes directly to your voicemail, and they can leave a voicemail and the phone number will show up in your call history. So I've had someone say, as soon as that happens and they know it's the doctor's, they go into the doctor's contact and they add that as a phone number into the doctor's contact. But what it does is it really cuts down on the number of calls that you get. You can also do it for text messages. So again, some people like it, some people don't. It's your preference.
You mentioned insurance
Mhm.
in regard to the problem. What kind of insurance? Do you mean title insurance?
So, when you buy a house or you refinance and you go through the process, you're always having to pay for title insurance, and that's to go through and check your title and make sure it's good and any liens and all that stuff on it. I would think that there is a version of title insurance that you could keep on your policy, not just for 90 days or whatever it is while you're going through that process. I haven't, and it's on my, one of my to-do lists is to talk to our insurance agent to find out, can I have this title insurance? Will it allow me to hire an attorney? Now, you also have to understand that all insurance policies are different. They come from a variety of different carriers, and some carriers will do some things and some won't do things. So you really just need to have a conversation with whoever your insurance agent is, if you're concerned about it, and see if there's something out there that can help you should that happen.
Any last questions? If not, Joyce can get closing
Okay.
arguments over here.
All right, so I talked a lot about our program and what we do. So our program is not meant to be a one and done. I heard somebody here say, might have been you when you were giving your name and where you're from and stuff. You had mentioned, but then I forgot. Exactly. It happens to all of us. So you might have heard some things in here today that you really want to put in place, but when you leave here, what happens? Life, right? You get busy and you've got other things going on. And so our whole program is meant to be reoccurring. We like to do it every 6 months. One, to reinforce the awareness. Two, there's going to be new things out there that we like to bring to your attention. Now, another way, other touch points that we have is we just started a podcast. If anybody listens to podcasts, you can find it. It's called Let's Talk About Scams. It's going to happen every 2 weeks. It's going to be a variety of different topics. We have a newsletter. We send one out in the mail if you like to get your information in the mail, but we also have one via email. Now, the email one is going to have videos in there. They will have links to go to our website and different things like that. So we've done both because we know that some people like mail, some people like email. If you're on social media, we are on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can follow. We post just about every day about a wide variety of different things. Now, our program, if you guys really want to see the whole program and go through it, and I brought some resources that are out there, but to get the whole resource packet and all of the information, we have a very small fee for our program. And it doesn't matter how many people attend, it's $150. It really covers our time. And then the cost of the materials that we bring. If you schedule anywhere from 1 to 4, you get a sliding discount. Like if you schedule 2 for 1 year, it's $270. So that helps us be able, because we don't want to charge the people that are coming to listen to the program. And that's a way of covering our costs. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so we do take donations, and we do other things to generate funds as well. We write grants, we have events. Like I said, if you join our email newsletter, you can get information about different events we have and just different things going on. So my email, or do you mean to join the email list? So if you go on the website, it's R.O.S.E, R-O-S-E, advocacy, ADVOCACY.org, O-R-G. And if you just scroll down on the homepage, you'll see a blue bar that says sign up for our email newsletter. And it just asks for your name and your email. If you want to get it in the mail, there's one there too. And I do have some of our brochures out there on the table as well with my cards.